Jack Harlow will never be respected as a rapper, and it's not even his fault.
This is bland.
One of the worst rappers I've ever heard in my life.
Harlow's status as next up has taken considerable, but not quite irreparable damage.
Coming off of Come Home, like, of course, some frustrations with not feeling understood, but it's also exciting to think, okay, let me see how I can get better.
Jack Harlow seems to have no interest inside of hip-hop circles. And though initially it'd be easy to blame race, it is more likely that what Harlow is missing is what the man he gets the most comparisons to has. Or in other words, Jack Harlow is what living in the shadow of Drake looks like.
I'm vanilla, baby. I'll choke you, but I ain't no killer, baby.
For reference, he currently has the biggest song in the country. And the biggest talking point of the song is that essentially nobody cares. In contrast to the conversation around Jack Harlow, Drake is having a ball. Drake now stands at 13 #1 hit songs, and on top of commercial success, he also has the respect of hip-hop fans, with most people liking the release of Scary Hour 3, which I guess begs the question, if possible, what can Jack Harlow do to get the respect of someone of the level of Drake? And to fully answer that question, it is important to understand who Jack Harlow is. Born in March 13th, 1998, Jack Thomas Harlow, better known as Jack Harlow, was born. And it didn't take too long for his interest in rapping to show up, as by the age of 12, Harlow had begun rapping at a local level, selling CDs to kids at his school.
Everybody knew me as a kid in the city that rapped because I was passing out mixtapes and I was dropping songs online. It was mostly just bubbling in my hometown, but I was well known. Like, people either liked me or they hated me. Like, a lot of people thought I was a lame.
I will say though, Jack Harlow's story in terms of rapping doesn't really begin until the year 2019. By the end of 2019, he had gathered respect and a bunch of hype based on his continued releasing of mixtapes. And everything was landing in the right places. He had momentum, and that momentum would take him to the promised land with the help of Lyrical Lemonade and the Cole Bennett directed video for the track What's Poppin'.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in.
I remember this song taking over my school little by little, and a big part thanks to Cole Bennett, who was basically like the guy who broke artists into the mainstream to me. Honestly, I kinda hated it the first time I heard it, but then I realized I was hating. And then I liked it.
I'm spending this holiday locked in. My body got rid of them toxins.
The remix to the song is also surprisingly good.
I keep it thorough. I got 5 chicks in New York, that means 1 in each borough.
Everybody did pretty good in terms of rapping, at least.
And I just flew back from LA on the jet yesterday. I go back and forth like I play tennis.
In retrospect though, this lineup is kinda crazy, I ain't gonna lie. Anyways though, Jack Harlow was a name in people's minds now. And in terms of white rappers, he was received surprisingly well, even being featured on Double XL's freshman list.
I had plans for the playoffs, damn. City used to hate, but I made y'all fans.
And he wasn't a one-hit wonder either, as shortly after, he would release the follow-up hit Tyler Hero. Now honestly, I wasn't sold on Tyler Hero at the time.
My homeboy Tyler, he playing South Beach. He told me this summer he gon' fix my jumper. I told Boy Wonder that we might got a thumper.
I mean, I bought a Kendrick Nunn jersey because I thought it was the future. But you know, it was a cool song.
With me, 5 white boys, but they not in sync.
If not for Tyler Hero sucking for the next 2 years, but he's cool now. Or whatever.
So the first 10 years of our relationship, she didn't reach an orgasm.
That's all.
It's okay. It's okay to say you don't give a fuck.
It's laugh. It's no funny.
I can't believe we're here.
Yeah. So
By the following year, Jack Harlow had the approval stamps of rappers like Eminem, and he would top the charts for the first time in his career alongside Lil Nas X on Industry Baby.
All these social networks and computers got these pussies walking around like they ain't losers.
And the good would just keep on coming, because when Jack Harlow was ready to release his sophomore studio album, he would release his biggest song to date, First Class.
I've been throw up the sex in
Despite the song topping the charts and being one of the bigger songs of 2022 as a whole, Jack Harlow's First Class is what we can really pinpoint as the moment where the hype train derailed.
I give a sweet semen.
And a big part of that had to do with the song's lead sample, Glamorous by Fergie. If we're being honest, First Class did not top the charts because of Jack Harlow. Nothing about his raps made people gravitate towards the song, and if you heard the song in public or on TikTok or on the internet as a whole, you probably heard the hook more than Jack Harlow's rapping.
I've been throw up the sex in
This is no hate towards Fergie, by the way, because Glamorous is a GTA classic. That's some real shit. But anyways, the common discussion around non-casual music fans was that the song was a lazy cash grab, and as such, the label stuck on to Jack Harlow as well.
I mean, the world's in denial, but they all know what I'm headed.
And by the time of the release of Come Home, The Kids Miss You, Jack had lost most of the goodwill he had built up around music fans.
I think just for me, it's like I have this disconnect with the album because I'm not too big of a fan of like, you know, pop rap records. And when they're done right, example, like when Drake will do it, it's done well, it's super unique, no one's able to replicate it. But I'm going into this album and I'm like, you know, I could get a lot of these songs on other albums.
The reviews for the record were largely negative, and if there was anybody hyping it up, they just said it was mid at best. The Metacritic score stands at just above a 50. Fantano gave it a 3. Pitchfork gave it a 2.9 out of 10. And outside of the commercial side of things, Jack Harlow went from a rising star in hip-hop to someone who not as many people cared for. And basically, that's how we landed where we are today. The reason why Jack Harlow has no hip-hop fans despite being such a commercial success is because he has struggled reaching a balance between being a successful pop star and a respected rapper. Essentially, Jack Harlow is living in the shadow of Drake, and it seems as though what Jack Harlow wants is what Drake has managed to accomplish.
I'm about to click out on this shit, I'm about to click.
Now, Drake gets a lot of hate for his half rapper, half singer career, but that is the ghost that Jack Harlow is chasing. The quest of being a good rapper while also maintaining commercial success. And there should be a heavy emphasis on his wanting respect among hip hop fans. As in search for that respect, Jack Harlow released Jackman earlier this year.
Unconditional love becomes very conditioned when push comes to shove.
A record mainly focused on bars and lyricism over making a hit. And with that being taken into account, it's clear that Jack Harlow wants to be a rapper. So you kind of have to ask, how can you be a pop rapper and a rapper at the same time? And to answer that question, I present to you the Drake cycle.
Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl.
Okay, firstly, you start to roll out with a big pop hit.
I hold back sometimes I won't. Yeah.
Similar to a Hotline Bling, God's Plan, Way Too Sexy, Sign You Out, etc. This is basically for the stat pack. But the follow-up hit, now this one has to be more introspective.
You know dog days, you know hard times.
Still poppy, but with more purpose in it.
I heard Poppy outside.
You know, substantial pop, like a Knife Talk, a Headlines, a first-person shooter. Then the album should be a mixture of both of these types of songs. And occasionally you might want to throw in that deep cut here and there. But all in all, this is how you end up being a respected rapper and a respected pop artist at the same time. At least in theory. But maybe I'm wrong. Because I don't know if you remember, but Drake is someone who took a long time to reach that top of the chart status. But if you want to check a video about that, I do have one right on this channel. Anyways, there should be some videos on the screen that you guys should click, subscribe, and like and all that. I don't usually ask for that, but I just wanted to try that out just to see what it was like. With that being said, shout out to Jay Dilla, shout out to y'all, and shout out to me. Especially shout out to me.